and a ground zebras. Right? Now the difference between them is the stripes. So with the Chapman zebras, there'll be shadow stripes in between black stripes, whereas the ground zebra is pretty much more the black and white thing that you imagine with zebras.
Yeah.
And then we have our ostriches here. This is Dorothy and Pete. So yeah, zebras. So speaking of the stripes, do you know why zebras have stripes?
No, I don't actually. I can't say.
There's actually a few different reasons. Actually, it's actually quite marvelous. So one is camouflage. Now, you might be thinking you don't get a lot of black and white things in the woods and savannah, but what it is they camouflage with each other. So if you're a predator, come to get them, and all you see is just this massive stripes. It's really hard to pick out one individual when it's just a teeming, moving mass of stripes.
Yeah, well, there are safety numbers anyway. So I mean.
Also, flies won't land on stripes.
Oh.
It dazzles them because they don't have the depth perception. So although they'll see flies buzzing around them, you never see them land on them, which saves them from being bitten by like tsetse flies and stuff. So it's the other animals that get it, and they're safe from it. Also, much like our fingerprints, zebra stripes are all completely unique.
Yeah, like tiger stripes as well.
Yeah, so they can, it's like familial bonding and stuff. They're able to pick each other out and helps them bond. And strangely enough, it's also to help control the temperature. So they can lift up the hairs on just the black stripes, letting the heat escape, leaving the white ones flat to reflect the sun. There's actually multiple uses. They're not, as my dad used to say, a horse for in pajamas. So, very useful thing, stripes. So here at Dartmoor, we use training with the zebras. This is to help them with sort of getting vet checked and things, and if they need injections and stuff. It's much less stressful if they come to you rather than having to chase them around. It's much safer for the vet too. So they all have their own different colour, different shape. This is Forest, and they're all trained to different levels because of their age, really. Forest is the oldest, so he is the best trained. He will come, he'll put his foot on there, and he'll do it up on the fence too, as well as down on the ground. And he will, he's injection trained as well, so he can give an injection, no problem. The others, they're getting there. So, these are zebras. Zebras, ostriches.
Oh yeah, I was going to say they're coming out there or something.
Dorothy and Pete. Now in the wild, you will have the males that are very aggressive, and they'll fight off the other males, so you'll find the intruders and things. And the females are really placid and easygoing. But here, I don't know if it's whether it's in captivity and there isn't any others. It's Dorothy that's the aggressive one, and Pete's really chill. As you know, I'm sure you know, ostriches are flightless birds, largest birds in the world. They don't really need to fly though when they can run as fast as they can. They can run up to like 40 kilometers an hour.
Whoa.
Which is not as fast as like a cheetah, but unlike a cheetah who could just do short sprints, these guys can maintain it for quite a distance.
Yeah, also they've got a kick, haven't they, as well? So
they've got a really nasty kick. And yeah, and their wings aren't completely useless. They use them as like rudders to help steer. To help with their turning. So they're very maneuverable as well.
Wow.
Have you ever heard the myths of an ostrich burying its head in the sand?
Yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a complete myth. They came around because they lay their eggs in a ditch. And to make sure that the eggs get a fair share of the heat from the sun, they turn them. So they'll be sticking their head in the ditch to turn them. And if you're from a distance, it just looks like they're sticking their head. But why would they need to stick their head in the sand to run away from a predator?
Yeah, I was
to get away from the predator when they can run faster than most of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, speaking of which, I forgot to read this. Ostrich with that on my cover of my book I'm reading, so there's that. But by coincidence.
Oh, speaking of eggs, so here we go. You can have a look at this one if you like.
Oh wow.
So, as you can tell, it's much bigger than a chicken egg. It's one of the larger eggs because obviously they're a larger bird. But comparative to their size, it's actually the kiwi bird. because the kiwi bird lays eggs about half the size of the bird itself. Whereas, obviously, this is a bit more manageable for them.
Yeah.
So one of these contains around 2,000 calories,
Wow.
which is enough, which is the daily recommended amount for an adult woman.
Got you, yeah.
So this can do you a whole day.
If you want to try an ostrich egg, Kenny.
Yeah.
So I grew up in South Africa, and we did have one of these ones,
Nice.
and it was enough to feed 8 of us breakfast.
Whoa.
And that's with 2 full-grown men.
Wow.
It tastes much like chicken egg, only a little bit richer.
Mhm.
Now, in South Africa as well, and other African places, these, because they're so strong, I don't know if you've
Oh, yeah.
how
Okay.
strong it
Yeah.
is.
Oh yeah.
Once they're emptied out, obviously to stop the egg going wrong,
Yeah.
they actually turn them into pieces of art.
Oh wow.
So if you can have a look online, and there's some beautiful, they etch and paint them, and they sell for hundreds of tourists. So they're really useful for people in African countries to make money off of, not only because they can sell these, but you sell the ostrich feathers to make feather dusters. They make great feather dusters.
Wow.
Ostrich meat is actually one of the healthiest meats out there. It's lean, much healthier than chicken. I think you get more on.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot more
bang for your
animal
buck as well.
there to make use
Yeah,
of.
absolutely. So in the wild, like I said, they bury their eggs to incubate them. Both the mum and dad will look after the eggs, make sure that they're tanned and everything. Once the eggs hatch, it's actually dad that takes over most of the looking after.
Oh okay.
So although mum does help a little bit, mostly it's dad teaching them how to look for food, protecting them from other sources and things. Yeah. Actually very interesting creatures. It's not
Yeah.
but it's the same as well with emus and rheas as well.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes, I remember your rears near the entrance.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy. Yeah.
These are actually a lot more dangerous than people think. Like I said about the kick.
Yeah, the kick.
It works for zebras too.
Oh okay.
So they've got a nasty kick too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen videos of them. They're quite aggressive sometimes, anyway.
Yeah, they kick here sometimes as well.
Yeah.
But because people tend to underestimate them as well. Everybody knows to be afraid of a lion or a tiger.
Yeah.
Like, people think, oh, it's just a zebra, they're
Yeah,
fine.
I
But
was gonna say they can still lash out.
they can still kill you. So
Yeah.
it's always best to treat everything, I think, with respect, really.
Well, in India, the wild animals anyway. They're
Yeah,
not like domesticated animals.
absolutely. And people have tried to domesticate the zebra, but they just don't want to know.
Yeah.
But around the same time they were doing horses, they tried with the zebras, but they're just untamable.
Yeah.
Both species are considered least concern in the
Yeah.
IUCN.
Yeah, but I'm really complained about ostriches being endangered anyway.
They're not endangered, but their numbers are still dropping. And there's still threats, mostly due to fragmentation. So do you know what that is?
Probably need a recap anyway.
Okay. So when somebody decides to build something, or people use farmland, and the wild land gets split into pieces.
Oh.
So like from there and there, that means that they're cut off from the rest of them. So there's less chance for genetic variance. There's less breeding chances for breeding. So that's a threat to their numbers. So they can't really cross over farms and stuff to.
Yeah,
get
no,
to
we got a
ostriches,
fence
yeah.
there anyway, blocking the way.
Exactly. So that's still a threat to them, because the less genetic variance you have, the more chance there is for genetic disorders
Yeah.
and things to kick in.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I remember hearing a story about when I was in Payton actually with the Cuban crocodile, because it's
Yes.
critically endangered, and they're saying that's because they breed with American crocodiles.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
story anyway, just so I'd mention it.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's like cheetahs actually have very little genetic variance now, because they've just been their numbers have dropped so much. But even though they're building up again, there wasn't enough of them really left to really make completely healthy specimens later on. So they're still under threat for things like that, which is why they seem a bit derpy. But absolutely, yeah. Can't really think of anything else to say.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that anyway, that was really good.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. Don't really get a lot of people listening to zebras and ostriches.
Yeah, well, what's the